Hey friends, I wanted to talk to you today about Amelia Bedelia's First Apple Pie. It's by Herman Parrish. So this story is about a little girl, Amelia Bedelia, who goes and visits her grandparents. In the beginning of the book, she's raking the leaves with her dad, and they see these birds, and the birds are actually a little bit of foreshadowing to something that happens at the end of the book, but the attention is quickly turned away from the birds, and Amelia Bedelia and her grandpa decide to head to the farmer's market to buy some Granny Smith apples to make an apple pie. Now, these ideas of heading to a farmer's market and Granny Smith apples are a great lead into some activities that we can use later on with our kids, because Amelia Bedelia takes everything word for word. She takes everything literally, so she thinks that they're actually going to buy Granny Smith to bring her home to bake the apple pie. So once they've gotten the apples, Amelia and her grandma make an apple pie together, and unknowingly to the grandma, Amelia Bedelia sneaks in her own little apple pie while the apple pie is baking. And then once the pie is ready to go out, they want to bring it outside to cool. But that foreshadowing comes into play again because those nasty birds come and eat all of the pie. So in the evening, when Amelia's parents come to pick her up and they're having dinner, we can see everybody's pretty upset here. There's no apple pie, but they had brought ice cream, and it's terrible that there's no apple pie to eat. But Amelia Bedelia sort of saves the day because she remembers, oh my gosh, something happened here, friends. I remembered that I made an apple pie that I can share with everybody. So Amelia heads out and she gets her own apple pie and she saves it. She shares it with everybody. So her little pie saved the day. So what I really liked about this is a lot of the figurative language that goes on in here. So the first one being, we're going to get some Granny Smith apples, and Amelia Bedelia is like, oh, we're going to get Granny Smith? Who's Granny Smith? Or as they're walking to the farmer's market, the grandpa's like, oh, watch your step. And so Amelia takes everything literally. So she's watching her steps, and she's getting really dizzy. Another one, too, is when she's baking with her grandma, the grandma's rolling out the dough, and she says, oh, watch your fingers. And so, of course, Amelia watches her fingers. So connecting that to curriculum, I thought it would be really neat to dive into demonstration and understanding of figurative language, word relationships, and nuances in word meanings. So the kids in the class could create a little journal where they take some of the figurative language that is used in the book, and they can create pictures based on these idioms about, the actual meaning. So if it was, we're going to get Granny Smith, they would draw a picture of Granny Smith. They're going to get Granny Smith, not the Granny Smith apples, or watch your feet, or watch your fingers, and then they can share this with the class. So that would be pretty funny to see everybody's literal representation of the idioms. And another thing we can do is we could tie it into math. So there's another page here, where it says, it's a pretty fun math representation, where we're talking about, first we cut into 2 pieces, and then to 4 pieces, and then to 8 pieces. So I thought it would be fun to hand out recipe cards where, if it calls for 2 cups of flour, we would have the students write it a different way. So 2 times 1 cup of flour, or if it says we need 4 apples, we could do 2 times 2 apples would equal 4 apples. So I'd have the students write the recipe in a different way. So these are just some of the connections that can be made with this book called Amelia Bedelia's First Apple Pie. Thanks for listening.